is Automate 2019 in Chicago. I'm with Marissa Tucker. She's product manager for controls and HMI at Parker Hannifin. Marissa, controls. Controls, I mean, this is the heart of industrial automation, and the promise of controls originally were standardization. Now, it didn't quite happen that way. What happened?
Well, standardization didn't happen because there was a huge dominating force in the industry. I think your viewers knew who I'm talking about. And they did an excellent job of going into schools and making sure that everyone knew ladder diagram. Everyone here knows it. I know it. It's a huge part of our industry. The challenge is because it became such a dominating force and it became kind of the standard that everyone learned, the challenge is that when new technologies arose, when new programming languages came about, people were not able to adopt these new standards. And a lot of times, especially when you're using something for so long, it can be very, very challenging to migrate to something new. The idea of having to go back, sometimes it feels like, and relearn something, or to when you are trying to make something more efficient, you just want to get the job done. So you're always going to reach for the tool in your tool chest that you already know. But the problem with that is that you stop evaluating what's in the marketplace. And that's really what's kind of happened on a huge scale within the United States. And now that there is new technology, there is new standards out there, a lot of people are not adopting them. And that can be a huge problem.
Now, historically, those of my generation know how a shop, a company, a factory, a whole organization sometimes would fall in love with or be trapped in one particular proprietary platform. You'd walk into a factory and they'd say, we're an Allen Bradley house, we're a Fanuc house. And there's tremendous inertial forces that prevented companies from really diversifying to different control types down there. Is that still a factor today?
Yeah, it still is a huge factor, because what you end up seeing happen is that these decisions really happen. Sometimes the engineering team will be involved in that initial specification, but what really maintains that momentum of using that one particular controller type or that one particular manufacturer is the C-suite. So you see a lot of tension for what's happening on the engineering floor, especially engineers. They're very curious people. They're kind of seeing what's happening and they want to try out new technologies, but because of partnerships that happen at that kind of C-suite decision level, and these partnerships could be, better support contracts, or it could be, special licensing. It could be a wide myriad of things that keep it on the economic level moving forward in that direction. But what ends up happening, and maybe what the C-suite doesn't realize, is that they're creating a lot of distrust between themselves and the engineers that work for them, because the old adage is, hey, you hire the best people and you let them make the decisions and tell us what to do. And we see that that's not really happening. And so a lot of companies where there's new ways to communicate through programming are very limited to what they can do and the choices that they can make. So it's a big challenge.
And what's the solution going forward? Now, from your perspective, of course, Parker Hannifin, historically, decades, probably a century of experience, pneumatics, originally AirLogic. Now I've moved into the software world now where the guys like me that swung a hammer and a wrench are no longer the people that understand the logic down there. What's the next step?
Yeah, and so one of the things is, there's a whole slew of technologies. When they first come out to the market, everyone has a very different solution, right? But over time, and as people start to understand the needs of their marketplace, standards start to arise. And so one of those standards, and this is going to be a big mouthful, is IEC 61131-3. And a lot of your viewers may not know what that means, but they're already using it. So if you use ladder diagram, believe it or not, that is part of that standard. The challenge is that, especially within the United States, a lot of people only see a small segment of that standard, and they keep specifying a specific manufacturer. What I'm really driving people to do and to really consider is stop standardizing around a manufacturer, and instead start to standardize around IEC 61131-3. Because once you do that, and once you make that adoption, all of a sudden you have a choice of manufacturers that you can use, and your supply team, one, is going to love you, and two, it challenges your engineering team to say, hey, we're using this language base, but what is the best manufacturer for us? So it really makes sure that your engineers are in control and that you are driving demand and you are driving your suppliers and not the other way around.
The future of manufacturing is standardization to liberate you from constraints imposed by a single platform, says Marissa Tucker of Parker Hannifin.